Today's video is brought to you by URCD Keys, the best source for Windows 10 and Office Professional product keys at deeply discounted prices. More details at the end of the video. Have you been mining either casually or professionally for cryptocurrency? Have you given any thought to your taxes? Well, you should, because most governments in the world want tax on your crypto in one form or another. And given the fact that you eventually probably want to turn your cryptocurrency into fiat money to pay your car payment, mortgage, or whatever else you're doing, at some point you are in fact going to owe taxes on it. Now, I'm going to put a link to what I'm about to show you down in the video description below, so if you want to read all the details, you certainly can. I'm going to provide you with the TLDR version for all of you who don't want to read this. The Ultimate Crypto Tax Guide 2020 from CryptoTrader.tax. And yes, I do have an affiliate link to this. I know you're all shocked, but it does allow the import of this directly into TurboTax if you do your taxes yourself, or it can provide a report for your CPA if you do that as well. I am going to talk about this as it relates to the United States of America because that's where we live, and that's the tax laws I'm familiar with. Now, I am not a tax expert. I am not a CPA. I am not an attorney, and I am not your personal financial advisor. This is general advice for everybody. Insert standard disclaimers, etc. I'm not responsible if you do something stupid, then the IRS hates you. But I will say this. I have been filing business tax returns for 25 years. I am used to and familiar with filing business tax returns. My tax return is 100 pages long. A lot of it is very boring forms. A lot of it is very simple form because the IRS has a form for everything. Yeah. It's not hard, but there's a lot of little forms because I have depreciation tables. I depreciate assets. I have actually more than one business because I have the business structured in the most tax-advantaged way possible, I'll put it that way. But it's illegal, and I absolutely report all of my income, and I take all of the legally allowable deductions, which is why I have a 100-page tax return. You think that's complicated? You should see some fancy businesses. Thousands and thousands of pages. It's absolutely ridiculous. Welcome to the United States and our crazy tax code. So I am familiar with business taxes and deductions and depreciations and investment taxes because I've been doing them for many years. So from that perspective, I understand the terminologies and the wordings being used in this tax guide. So having said all that, here is the TLDR, too long did not read version. If you mine cryptocurrency, not buy and sell, not trade, if you mine with your graphics card, with an ASIC, with your CPU, if you generate cryptocurrency through the effort of mining, the Internal Revenue Service in the United States considers that earned income. It's not investment income. It's not capital gains. It is the same as if you went to McDonald's and earned $10 an hour. It is a paycheck, and you owe regular income taxes on whatever the cryptocurrency you earn is worth. And this is a very important point. Does not matter whether you sell it. The taxes are owed when you create it. They're owed as you mine them. They're owed. If you go get a job and you earn money, you earn taxes as you go. If you're casually mining, you're not earning enough to need to do estimated quarterly payments. If you have 100 graphics cards in a professional mining rig, you actually need to start looking at making estimated tax payments because the IRS, if you end up owing money at the end of the year and you didn't make estimated quarterly payments, and if it's large enough monthly payments, then you'll actually owe interest and penalties because the IRS doesn't want to wait till the end of the year to get all their money from you. They want it throughout the year. Very important point to keep in mind. And yes, this does mean that you might have to sell some of your crypto to pay the income tax on your crypto. If you were to earn $100,000 in mining, if you were to generate, right now Bitcoin is about $50,000 per Bitcoin. Right. So if you were to mine 2 Bitcoin, That is $100,000 of earned income that you owe on your income taxes this year, whether you sell it, whether you give it away, although you can, if it's to a 501(c) charitable organization, you could write it off your taxes that way, and that would cancel it out. But if you store it, you owe income tax. If you are in the 25% tax bracket, you owe the IRS $25,000. But here's the fun part. If you set yourself up as a business, which you can do as a sole proprietorship, it's in our local county, what was it, $15 to register as a business? Mm-hmm. You can register under your own name. You can make up a name. You can be the ABC Mining Company. That's it. You go down to your local county clerk's office. Some county clerks will let you do it online, and you pay anywhere between $10 to $20 filing fee, and you register a fictitious name, and you create a business. Then you go to the IRS's website, and you get an EIN, or employer identification number, completely free. That doesn't cost anything. It takes you 5 minutes. And then you start filing your taxes under that number, and you provide that EIN to Coinbase and anybody else who wants it for the purposes of issuing a 1099. Because then Coinbase issues a 1099 to your company, and of course now your company has operating expenses. By the way, all of this can easily be done through TurboTax. If you're into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, you might want to hire a CPA, but if you're just making a little bit of money, I mean, you really can't do this through TurboTax. What did you pay for your video card? If you used your video card 90% of the time for mining and 10% of the time for gaming, then you can write off 90% of the value of your video card.
There we go.
Your computer, how much you paid for electricity to mine. If you just take a notepad and you just write down some basic expenses. Okay, I mined this many hours, my electricity cost about this much, I'm going to estimate I spent about this much on electricity. If it's reasonable, if you could sit in front of another human being and say, I pay 10 cents a kilowatt hour, my video card uses 150 watts, and it mined this many hours, and that's how I came up with the number, you're fine. That's a defense against you or attempting to defraud the government. They might or might not agree with all of your calculations, but you made an honest effort to, I know this is going to sound crazy, but the IRS actually gives credit for honest effort. If you are attempting to comply with the laws, they're not going to waste their time beating you up. They might want to make an adjustment. They might argue about some of the calculations, but you're not going to jail. That's the people who go to jail are the people who don't report anything. So
who don't pay their taxes.
Or who hide income. You could deduct a lot of things. What I have learned over the past 25 years is the IRS might dispute your deductions. They might say, we disagree with how much you're deducting. People don't go to jail for deductions. People go to jail for not reporting the income. If you earned $100,000 in Bitcoin and you don't report that, that's a you're going to jail dollar amount.
That's the problem.
But if you report $100,000 of Bitcoin and $90,000 of expenses, they might dispute the $90,000. Al Capone went to jail because he hid income. Not because he not because he was overly excited about his expenses.
Overly excited.
So that's an important point. It is earned income that you owe taxes on. So for all of you miners out there, you will owe income tax. Now, here's the cool part. Because you can deduct things, okay, what portion of your internet connection was used for mining? Because the mining software has to connect on the internet.
Correct.
And you've done research on your computer. So your whole computer and a portion of your, now, maybe it's only 10 or 15% of your internet bill, but let's say you pay $100 a year for your, $100 a month for your internet. That's $1,200 a year. Let's say that 10% of your use was mining. Okay, so that's a $120 deduction.
It adds up.
And you can just start, you know what? I'm going right down that list and just going, okay, did I go out to lunch with my buddies and did we discuss cryptocurrency? Did I make some cryptocurrency friends? Did I drive to Micro Center to buy a video card? Was that for cryptocurrency? I can deduct the miles. 55 cents a mile. I drove 30 miles. Plus I had lunch. There's another $30 deduction. That's money you don't pay in taxes. Now, some people may say, well, that just sounds like a lot of work. There are apps you can get for your phone
There are.
that will let you just keep track. You just put in every time you do something that's related to what you're doing, you just add it. And a lot of those apps will then import directly into TurboTax. So the TLDR is if you mine that is normal earned income that you owe tax on, no matter what you do with the Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever else that you mine. And it is also worth noting that it's easy to think, well, I'm just doing a little bit. I'm only mining a couple $100. Maybe I'm only going to mine $500. The IRS isn't going to come after me for that. No, they probably aren't. They really aren't. I'm not giving you legal advice, but there's much bigger fish to fry than that. That's not worth their time.
Well, it's worth noting that Coinbase will report a certain amount.
They won't report that amount. You have to do a lot more.
What's the number?
Generally $20,000. However, the IRS can go back 7 years. You may not be doing it today, but if 5 years from now you're doing more, or you get audited in 5 years, and they catch that you didn't report your few $100 here and few $100 there for 5 years.
That'll add up in interest.
No, it's worse than that. Now you're hiding income.
Oh.
That's an actual crime.
Oh. Don't do that.
Martha Stewart went to jail for $55,000 and she's a multi-hundred millionaire.
That doesn't make sense.
Because she broke the law.
Mm-hmm.
Not reporting income is a crime. It's a go to jail crime.
So report your income.
And they can go back years. It's not that $500 is worth their time today, but you don't know what you're doing in 5 years. It is much, much easier, much safer to just report the $500 now, and you can deduct the price of your video. Here's the kicker. If you report the $500 and you paid $500 for a video card and you deduct the $500, there's no tax. But because you reported it, you'll never get in trouble for it. Big freaking deal. If your computer expenses, let's say you mine $2,000. Do you have $2,000 of computers and electricity and internet? Proportionately, you can write it off and then you owe no tax. But you have to do the paperwork. That's XD.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. He lost his power, so he's coming to say hi to us.
Oh, okay.
You want to go say hi to him? Poor XD lost his power at home. So, if you just take a few minutes to fill out the paperwork and do the taxes right, then you give them nothing to come back after you for in the future. Because they're not making a big deal about it today, but do you guys honestly believe they're not going to in the future? Kevin, yes, she did go to jail for that, but the point is she broke the law. Not reporting income is a crime. Deductions are a different thing. Now, if you earn money, not from mining, but from trading, if you buy Bitcoin for $25,000 and you sell it for $50,000, you've made a profit. Now, that's the same classification as if you were buying and selling stocks, and there's short-term capital gains and long-term capital gains. And in the United States, the very simple way to figure it out is, did you own it for a year? If you buy and then sell in less than a year, it's short-term capital gains and it's considered ordinary income, and then you pay your ordinary income tax rate on it. If you held it for more than a year, then you owe capital gains taxes, which are way lower, generally about 15%. Less any business deductions, assuming you're keeping track and running it as a business. If you bought Bitcoin a year ago when it was around $10,000 and it's worth $50,000 today, and let's say that you bought $10,000 of the Bitcoin a year ago and then you sell it today, but it's been less than 365 days, You just made $40,000, which is now normal income. If you're in the 25% tax bracket, you owe the IRS $10,000. If you wait until day 366, you owe less taxes. If you, depending upon your taxes, let's say it's 15%, then you just save $4,000. Now you owe $6,000 instead of $10,000. And people who aren't used to stocks and aren't used to capital gains could get goosed by that, because imagine if you sold at day 364 instead of 366. That is a $4,000 tax difference that there is really nothing you can do about, because once you sell, you have created a tax event. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say. Elon Musk has announced that he plans to accept Bitcoin for Teslas. I am going to buy some Bitcoin. You can't mine for Bitcoin to pay for a Tesla because you owe the tax on the Bitcoin as soon as you mine it. That's true of Ethereum and Dogecoin and Litecoin and anything else. There's no way around that. So let's say 5 years ago, you bought Bitcoin for $5,000. And you bought 2 Bitcoin. You paid $10,000 5 years ago for Bitcoin. Clearly, that is long-term capital gains. You've had it a very long time. You're golden. You want a new Tesla Model S. They've redesigned it. You can play Cyberpunk on the new Tesla Model S. It's got self-driving and all the other cool features. And you're going to go to Tesla and you're going to say, I've got 2 Bitcoin here. You paid 10 grand. They're now worth 100 grand because they're $50,000 a piece. Here's my 2 Bitcoin. Please give me my Tesla. Ha, screw you, IRS. I don't owe any taxes. Guess what? Yes, you do. When you sell or trade the Bitcoin for another item, you create what's called a taxable event. And you owe capital gains taxes on the $90,000 increase, even though you didn't get any money for it. You traded it for the car, but you now owe 15% on $90,000, which is $9,000 plus $4,500, which is $13,500. And that's a dollar amount that'll probably get noticed, and Tesla will probably end up reporting the transactions to the IRS anyway because they don't want to run afoul of the rules. So, thank you, my love. You are awesome. I was just talking about the challenges of trading in Bitcoin for Teslas and having a huge tax event.
Oh, yeah.
So doing that doesn't get you out of the taxes. And it's something to keep in mind, because it's really no different than if you bought gold when gold was $50 an ounce, and now gold is worth $2,000 an ounce, and you want to trade the gold for a car. You can do that, but it has to be recorded as 2 transactions. The gold has to be first converted into dollars, and then it has to be converted into the car. The Bitcoin has to be converted into a dollar amount, which then has to be converted into the car. They can do that at the same time. They could do that in one momentary transaction, but legally and tax-wise, it's 2 transactions. Now, legally, all barter works this way. It's just that small amounts of barter doesn't ever get tracked or caught by the IRS because it's not worth their time. It's small dollar amounts, and of course, obviously, they can't go around and police everything. But legally, that's how it works. As soon as it ends up being tens of billions of dollars worth of cars, you can be assured that they're not going to allow that to happen. So as I said, bright screen warning, this will be linked down below, the Ultimate Crypto Tax Guide, which contains lots of information if you want to read up all about it. It really isn't that hard, but you just have to understand that when you have crypto that comes, you either generate, you owe earned income on, just like if you had a job, or if you buy and sell. Now, here's the fun part. If you bought Bitcoin today at 50,000 and it drops to 25, you have a loss, and you can deduct that on your taxes.
That's true.
Against your other income.
Uh-huh.
Like if you have stock gains or something else.
Yep.
So it's the same thing as an asset. And again, if you just have a few $100s, if you just have 1,000, it's very easy to say, who cares? It's small potatoes. I don't matter. If you never get audited, and if they never check the records, okay. But they can go back a lot of years.
They can.
And if they find that you've not been reporting it for years, you are now a tax cheat.
That's a problem.
Two things will happen. Either you will stay out of real legal trouble because you'll be able to give them enough money to go away, or you'll have the other kind of legal trouble where you get introduced to Bubba. You don't want to meet Bubba. Here's the other problem. You're now on their radar. They will now look at your taxes for the rest of your damn life. Move to Paraguay.
Or just pay your taxes.
If you have $1,000 of earned Bitcoin income, report it, and then deduct out your video card and your computer and a portion. Don't get crazy, but maybe 10 or 15% of your internet and your electricity. You'll cancel out $1,000 of crypto doing that stuff. You'll wipe that out. You won't owe any taxes. You just have to do a little bit of paperwork. It'll take you a little bit of time. But once you learn it once, you always know it. You'll be able to do it the next year and the year after that. And then you'll be able to point to it and say, I've been reporting my income, and then the IRS will go after somebody who didn't. Do you have anything to add to all this?
Pay your taxes. Claim your stuff. Know the rules.
Yeah, it's...
Error on the side of caution. Or caution on the side of error, whatever it is. What is it? That saying.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the TLDR on taxes. URCD Keys is the best source for genuine Windows 10 and Office Professional product keys that work the first time, every time. Get 20% off normal prices using our discount code BST for Bite Size Tech and the link in the video description below. $15 gets you a Windows 10 Professional OEM key that is a real product key, activates directly with Microsoft, use it forever as it links to your Microsoft account and it works through reinstalls. Get a full copy of Office 2019 Professional Plus for about $50 that redeems at setup.office.com using your Microsoft account. It also works forever through reinstalls. We have been using URCD keys for almost 3 years now and recommend you do so as well.